Hello to my 1,243 YouTube channel subscribers. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday and that you guys got some exciting plans for this weekend. If not exciting plans, hopefully you have some nice, relaxing, pleasant plans for this weekend, which is always nice. Today's walk and talk, it was going to be about excuse me, as I cut through this forest on the way to the bike trail. Um, Today's walk and talk is going to be about my plans for this weekend. My plans for this weekend is going to be fasting and reading the Bible. So that's what I plan on doing for this weekend and taking it easy. So a little bit about my history when it comes to fasting and reading the Bible. I've done a lot of that in the past. Now I'm 48 currently, but when I was in my 20s, for about 6 months, I think I was 25 years old, and I would fast from Friday night at 5 p.m. and then I wouldn't eat again until Monday at 5 p.m. or 5 a.m. I'm sorry. So it'd be a 60-hour fast. And it wouldn't be exactly 5 p.m. at 5 a.m., but it would be, around there. But so if I ate, let's say at 6 p.m. on Monday, or I'm sorry, if I ate dinner at 6 p.m. on Friday night, then I wouldn't have breakfast until 6 a.m. on Monday morning. So that's a 60-hour fast. And so now I was doing that mainly when I was in my 20s, mainly to burn body fat. And because I was really into diet and nutrition, I read the Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding Bible, and I also read all the workout magazines. And they were saying, this was over 20 years ago, and they were saying all the benefits of fasting, so that was before the internet, and when it became a fad and everybody's wanting to do it now. But since then, I've learned, which I really haven't did much fasting. I've done intermittent fasting where I would eat for 18 hours or so, and I've done that, and I think that works really well. So I do have some experience with fasting. And also with reading the Bible. Now, I've read the whole Bible from Genesis to Revelations once, and then I'm on my second time reading it again, and I'm in the book of, let's see, I read, where did I leave off at? I think it was Samuel 1 and 2, and then so I think I'm still in Samuel 2. However, I think I'm just going to start all back over and start from Genesis chapter 1 and start reading that maybe even this evening, but definitely tomorrow. And I think I'm going to go live on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, and do a live reading. And then also it'll be saved into my playlist. And so if you guys would like to follow along, that would be awesome. I would love that. So I plan on reading the whole, and I already plan on doing this, and I got a few books of the Bible read on my YouTube channel and upload, but I kind of just want to do it chapter by chapter all the way through and make a playlist so people can follow along. And I stopped doing it a few months ago because I was overly stressed, and I noticed I started getting a little bit judgmental, which as a Christian, that thou shalt not judge. Those without sin should cast the first stone. And so I just felt like, I had to get my mind right, take a little break, and recenter myself. And so yeah, I plan on starting with Genesis 1. So that upload will be coming soon, within the next 24 hours. And then for dinner tonight, before my fast, what I plan on eating before my fast is over with, is just the last of my perishable foods that's in my house, which is really not much left. That that I have to worry about going bad. I've ate all the perishable goods, and so what I think I'm gonna have tonight is a fresh garden salad from my backyard. I'm just gonna grab kale, lettuce, spinach, and whatever else I can find in my yard, and have a nice salad. And then I have some protein pancake mix that I'll probably make a protein pancake on the grill using forest wood. I really enjoy that. And then also I'll probably have a blender treat with some frozen berries and cherries and bananas and strawberries. I'll probably use some of that and make me a nice smoothie. I should put some flaxseed in there, some peanut butter, some ice cream, some light version of the ice cream. I believe that has less sugar. I believe the light version. And so that's what I'm gonna have. And then whatever time I finish eating tonight, which I want to have it by 6 p.m., 7 p.m. tonight at the latest is the last I want to eat. And then I plan on just drinking water and not eating again until Monday morning at so whatever time. If I finish my last meal by 6 p.m. tonight, then I'll eat Monday at 6 a.m. And so why am I wanting to fast, and why am I wanting to read the Bible? Well, it's for numerous different reasons. So I want to fast. I have a couple of health issues. I have a partial hernia. I have high blood pressure, and I have high hypertension. And and I've been feeling a little bit under the weather the last 4 or 5 days, and I'm not for sure if it's from the blender treats, if it's giving me like cold chills, or if I'm having like too much sugar from the frozen berries and ice cream, because I don't really consume any sugar. I just drink black coffee. I don't use sugar at all, and I don't buy processed food and snacks or from the grocery store. I have it for years. As far as like, any kind of cookies or cakes or chips or anything, I don't buy any processed food. And so I don't know, these blender treats or whatever it is, but it was giving me the last 4 or 5 nights, I was getting like tingling sensations in my back, and it was really scary. And I went to the doctor the other day, and I took blood tests. And so I got to go back to the doctor on July 3rd. And so that's one of the reasons for my health. And then also for my body weight, because all your health, the majority of your health problems and a lot of the diseases and everything like that, they reside in your belly fat. So the more fat you have in your stomach, the likelier, more unhealthier health problems that you'll have, especially as you get older. And the more you weigh, the more strain you're putting on your heart to carry all that weight, So, and then it would help my hernia, it would help my blood pressure if I lose some weight. So that's what I plan on doing. And I went to the doctor the other day, and I weighed 222 pounds, which a little bit over a year ago, I weighed 265 pounds. And so I lost all that weight. However, I got down to 219 pounds last year. And then I bought a bread maker, and I was eating a loaf of bread almost every night. And then I learned how to make pancakes in my cast iron skillet. And so I was basically just having a pancake for breakfast and a loaf of bread at night. And I felt like the yeast in the bread, I felt it was really affecting me, but I was just enjoying it so much because I never really had no fresh made bread that was still warm. And but it made me gain a lot of weight. So I went from 219 to like 235 or something. And then I haven't been weighing again since then. And that was, 6 months ago or whatever. So, but I've been eating super healthy this whole last year. Like when I went to the doctor, I had nothing but good health until last year, or a little bit over a year ago, when I went to the doctor, and they said I had high blood pressure, and they suggested that I change my diet because I was eating a lot of red meat, steaks and hamburgers, which, I think red meat has some good things in it, iron, iron and some other good things in red meat. However, the doctor says red meat makes your blood pressure go up, and I agree. And also, if you look in the wild at animals, like animals that eat meat, they're more aggressive, like lions, tigers, bears, and all the animals that eat meat. They have a more of a aggressive personality. Okay, but then you look at animals who don't eat meat, like birds or whatever. They have more of a friendly, happier type of attitude and demeanor. And I've noticed that because I was eating red meat 7 days a week. All I was making was steaks and hamburgers and bacon, and that's all I ate was red meat. And then another big change is one of the bigger changes for weight loss was I was drinking a lot of coffee. I'm talking about, several pots of coffee a day. And I would put that liquid creamer in it. And I would put sugar and liquid creamer. Then I cut the sugar out. And I was still just putting the liquid creamer in it. And I noticed when I stopped doing that over a year ago, I started losing a lot of weight. And so definitely sugar and liquid cream in your coffee. If you're doing that, Starbucks and all that, it's going to be super hard for you to lose weight if you're drinking coffee with sugar or creamer. If you're concerned about your weight, then you're going to have to cut that out more likely, or maybe if you can limit it to, once a week or whatever. But I have a hard time, having that much discipline, saying, oh, I'm just going to have it on occasion. And that occasion seems to come more often than what I would like. So I don't even try to, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. If I'm not, I'm not. Okay. So that's the reasons why I'm going to fast. And also, I've since learned fasting also helps you have a spiritual connection. It has, fasting helps you do a mental clarity. It helps, you going through, anthropology, I forgot exactly how you pronounce it. It's like an A. It starts with an A. Atrophy. I know I'm not saying it right, but it basically, if you fast, it starts burning all your body fat. So it's gonna help burn the body fat, and then plus, and then fasting also, they say, could bring you closer to God. And so I'm just gonna, and it's I like that it's also it makes you more strong mentally and stuff. Now, when I was fasting in my 20s, and I was fasting for 60 hours a week, it literally changed my life. It was life changing. And so I think I really need that in my life. Also, so now reading the Bible, now I read the whole Bible. Also, when I was about, I would say about 26 years old. So I fasted at 25 for 6 months every weekend. And then when I was 26, I read the whole Bible. And it took me a year to read it. I read it from Genesis to Revelation. And that also changed my life. That was reading the Bible and fasting was two of the biggest life changers. I would say definitely probably in the top 5 of things that really helped benefit me. And so I just kind of want to, and so basically what I do is, like, I've been kind of thrown off. I've been having a lot of chronic stress since last year. Now, last summer, I was the happiest I ever been. You know, I couldn't believe how happy I was. I had about 6, 7, 8 months where I was so happy. And then my daughter came and visited for a month with her boyfriend, and it ended bad, and it was so stressful and so depressing. And then so it's just been nothing but and that was over a year ago. So it's been a whole year straight where it's just been nothing but you know, first it was depression, and then then after the depression subsided, maybe after 6 months or so, then the stress came in because of all the depression, where not paying my bills, not making money, and then that put me into a more of you know, a chronic stress. And I think that's where my health problems 100% come from. Stress, chronic stress, being under chronic stress for so long. And then like last summer, last spring, when I was the happiest ever, I didn't have any stress in my life. You know, so that's what it is. The more stress you have, the more unhappier you're gonna be, especially when you get older. Now, when I was younger, stress, if I was in a stressful situation, it would just motivate me just to even go harder, you know. But now that I'm older, I can't go as hard as I did 20, 30 years ago. You know what I mean? So that stress ain't gonna motivate me. It's just gonna be because I've also found out about myself, when I get overly stressed, it's always one of two things that happen. One, I go manic, and then I just get a million things done, you know, and that solves my problems. Or the older I get now, it seems I get depressed, and then so, because it's just, I'm overwhelmed and I'm overstimulated, so I just have to sit in a quiet place for months and not be social, not interact, not do anything. However, in 2025, if you live on your own, there's no way the heck you could afford to be depressed. You know what I mean? Because the cost of living is just way too high. It's just not affordable. Like, people cannot afford to be, you have to be rich to be depressed. Like, you gotta have to have parents that supporting you, or a significant other. But if you ain't got nobody to take care of you, if you ain't got no help, if you're the only help that you have is yourself, you just can't afford to be depressed. And so that's kind of the situation that I found myself in. And then but even the bigger problem for me was the bigger than depression. I would say depression, you know, a number two, but the number one problem is stress. You know, chronic stress is way worse than chronic depression. But they kind of go hand in hand. So anyways, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and start, you know, fasting, reading the Bible, and kind of just get back to the things I was doing last year when I was at the most happiest. Cause see, we all have a track record, and so if you did it before, it's more likely you could do it again. So, and if you want things to be different in your life, you have to do things differently, and you have to change your people, places, and things. And that's what I've done, and that's what I've always done in my life. When my life's not going the direction I like it to go, I'm gonna change my people, places, and things. So people, so what I've made the changes with people is no negative people, nobody that drinks alcohol obsessively, nobody who does drugs, nobody who takes too many prescription pills, nobody who's doing any kind of negative type stuff. And the older I get, the less I can have those kind of people around me. So that's people in places. And so I changed my places. So let's say, you know, when I was younger, let's say I might go to the bars, or I might go to the clubs, or I might go to house parties. And so I stopped doing all that. I haven't been to a bar, well, except for seeing a band play. But like going out and drinking and all that stuff. So instead of going to clubs and bars, I now go to church and the gym. You know what I mean? So I changed my places. And so right now, my places that I go to, I don't go anywhere as negative. I haven't been to any bad places that would be like a negative place in so many years. So I'm doing pretty good on that. People, now I do let a few. I have let a few negative people around me, but that stress me out. But once I set my, I explain to them, I communicate with them. I'm honest with them. I communicate effectively, and I set boundaries. And then once they cross the boundaries 3 times, no matter how long I've been friends with them, I just gotta stop talking to them. You know what I mean? I gotta love them from a distance. And so, people, places, and then things. So that's where I'm really focusing on is things like, what am I doing that can help me in my situation to change and get back to where I was at and to where I want to be at. So the things I'm doing, so I wasn't reading my Bible on a consistent basis. So I'm going to go ahead and start trying to do that. And then fasting, that's the thing. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. So I'm gonna try some different things and try to get some different results, because they say the definition of insanity is keep doing the exact same thing you're doing and think you're going to get different results. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So if you want your life to be different and you want different results, you got to do things differently. And if you want to make huge changes in your life, that means you got to make huge difference. That means you got to do things way different than you was doing them yesterday. Now if you just want if you think your life's really good, but you just like it to be a little bit better, then you just make a few changes. But if you think like, man, this ain't what I want life to be. This ain't, then you got to make a lot of changes. You know what I mean? And I think my life is pretty decent, but I do definitely need to make some changes to make things a little bit better. And so that's why, and the power of prayer and just keeping a positive attitude, having positive thoughts. They say that's the number one way to get past difficult times, is by keeping a positive attitude and have positive thoughts. And that's always been pretty easy for me. But however, after having so much stress, let's see if I can take a picture like that. Boom, got it. Cool. I didn't know you could do that. Well, I can have a video and talk. Okay, cool. But now I've noticed a lot of people that I've been around, women that I've dated, friends that I've had, man, they have, half of their thoughts, the majority of their thinking and attitude is negative. Like all these negative attitudes and that's why they're still stuck. Like they're still doing the exact same thing they was doing in the 1980s and 1990s, because they have a negative mindset. They have a negative thoughts. And so you can't grow as a person if you still have the same, as if you have negative thoughts. If you have what they call intrusive thoughts and you have all that stuff, it's going to be hard for you to grow as a person. That's why I was able to come so far in my lifetime from where I started at in life and to where I'm at today. It's only by the grace of God that I've been able to make it this day far and do this well. From where I started at to where I'm at now, nobody ever would have thought that I would be doing as good as I'm doing now. But the funny thing is that I know 100% sure as good as I'm doing now is not nowhere. I could have been doing 100 times better than I'm doing now if I would have made just a few different decisions. I could have been. I just know I'm really capable of doing a lot. And so that's why it's hard for me to be satisfied in my current position, because I know that I'm capable of doing so much more, you know. And but at the same time, you know, you need to be content and happy, and I am happy with what I have and where I'm at in life. But at the same time, and another thing that I've learned too, as far as my stress level goes, I found out what really stresses me out is thinking about my past, all the crap that I've been through in the past. Whenever I think about that, I see my blood pressure go up. Whenever I gotta talk, and that's why I don't like to date new women, and that's why I don't do the dating apps. I don't do all that dating stuff, and I just been single for so long, because the dating apps, or the, you know, when you first meet somebody, they always want you to, they ask you a million questions, and then you got to think about your past, and it always gets my blood pressure up, you know what I mean? So I just stopped doing that. And so thinking about the past, like, oh, you got to explain, oh, your children live in another state, and you ain't been able to see them, and you had to go to court 40 times just for visitations, and then on and on and on, you know. And so so one thing, don't think about the past, don't live in the past. Matter of fact, act like the past didn't even exist, you know. And then another thing is that I find myself always projecting the future, like, oh, I can't wait to get some off-grid property. That's when I'm gonna be happy. Once I can start my off-grid farm, then I could be happy. But see, you don't want to live in the, you don't want to do that either. I've learned you got to enjoy the journey to get there, and you have to be all the way focused on right now. That's, you know, what's going on today. Focus on what's going on today, and your stress level is going to go tremendously down. So that's something that I've learned how to do. Just recently, honestly, I've noticed that I've seen recently, this last few weeks, whenever I get to talking about the past, my anxiety goes straight up, my stress goes up, my blood pressure goes up. It's so unhealthy. And even when I talk about the future, my future plans of what I want, you know, and they say, another thing I learned is, don't never base your happiness what's on the future, right? Because you could say, you know, once I get this off-grid property, then I'm gonna be happy, right? But so let's say it takes you 5 years or 10 years to get your off-grid property, and you got it, and then let's just say a flood comes and wipes it out, and the land's ruined or whatever, and then so you're basing your happiness on something that can change. So you need to put your happiness in the journey of getting there. And because I could say, like, for instance, I was like, I'll say with my own example, with my own self, I was like, man, if I could have my kids live with me, I'd be so happy, you know. And I was like, once I get my kids to live with me, I'm gonna be happy. And so I had to wait 20 years. After 20 years of waiting to be happy, I finally got one of my kids to come live with me. And it didn't work out like I wanted to, and then I was just devastated, you know. And so, and that does hurt so much. And then so you don't want to just try to be like, oh, put your happiness in the future, or your happiness in a projected time and place, or whatever it might be. So you kind of just want to be happy with what you got going on today. Like, for instance, so focusing on today, I had to work on my eBay, okay? I was happy about that. I woke up, make some coffee. I was happy about that. And then, so I got my eBay work done. And then, I'm taking a walk right now. I'm just loving this. It's a beautiful walk. I'm really enjoying it. And when I get back home, I'm gonna mow my grass and get my backyard together. And so I'm gonna enjoy doing that. And then after that, I might go out to the lake and get some more free wood chips and mulch and lay that down around the rest of my plants, because I had 3 totes. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, and that worked. But I think I need about 3 more totes of wood chips to complete my mulch job. And so, and then I'll take the wood chips and I'll mix it with topsoil and compost and whatever else I have on hand, and I'll just put that in and then give it a good watering and stuff. And then I'll go to the gym, and get a little workout, take a nice shower. And then also in between that, have dinner, and have dinner. I might read Genesis 1 before bed and upload that. So I'm just going to be happy what I'm doing today. That's what I'm mainly focused on. I would say, if you put, let's say you do, let's say your mental thoughts, let's say you keep your mental thoughts consistent of 90% of what's happened today. What's going on today should take up 90% of your mental thoughts. And then you can spend 5% of your brain power a day thinking about the past, what you could do better, what you did good, what you did enjoy, and then your future, you spend 5% of your day maybe thinking about your future, visualizing it, put it in your head, picturing it, and then kind of work toward, short-term goals, long-term goals. But the majority of your time day should be thinking about what is going on today. What can you do today to better yourself? And that's another thing that I have been doing pretty consistently on a daily basis since I was about 19 years old. So almost 30 years that I have been trying to better myself every day, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And so if you could kind of like work on them, if that could be your focus each day by, bettering yourself, improving yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually, it's really going to take you places in life, and that's what I've been doing. And I'm thankful that I started at 19, but I wish I could have even started younger at 12, or something like that. I wish, maybe one of my parents would have said, hey, you might want to try to better yourself mentally, physically, spiritually every day, and help me practice that and teach me that instead of having to learn the hard way and learn on my own. But yeah, it's definitely enjoyable. And then so improving yourself mentally, physically, spiritually. Mentally, how I improve myself is by reading thousands of books, going to college, reading the Bible, and just trying to learn new things. So mentally, and then physically, how do I improve myself is by going to the gym consistently, working out consistently, and eating healthy foods. And then spiritually, by reading the Bible, praying, going to church, worshiping, fellowship is another good way to help yourself spiritually. But yeah, so I'm super looking forward to this fasting. Really the mental clarity, the spiritual connection, and reading the Bible, just trying to get back to where I was at last year would be such a blessing as well. And so definitely looking forward to all of that. Really, I am. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I don't know what made me just pull the trigger. I think I watched this video of this pastor where he said he didn't eat for 21 days. And, I was just like, man, I've been thinking about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try this weekend. And I'll post videos and keep you guys updated on the progress of that. And now I'm not even gonna feel bad if, let's say, tomorrow or Sunday, if I'm feeling lightheaded, or if I'm having any kind of health problems, I'll go ahead and break my fast. But I'm just gonna try to. Last time I fast for 60 hours like that, it was like a few little hunger pains. But after 24 hours, it's like you didn't even think about it. So it was weird. And at least say humans could go 3 to 10 days without eating any food, no problem. And I just don't think it's natural actually for humans to eat like we do 3 times a day, 3 huge meals, and just having a refrigerator full of food. And then that's another thing is that America has the biggest refrigerators in the world, and you load them up full of perishable goods, and then you just tell yourself, oh, I gotta eat all this food before it goes bad. But 100 years ago, they didn't have electricity or however long it was, and they didn't have these big refrigerators. And humans, they would just eat a few times. They might go a couple days without eating, and I just think that's kind of the way our digestive system was set up to be. And one of the deadly sins is gluttony and overeating. That's a sin. So that's a deadly sin. So I think that's another thing as well. I just think it's more natural not to eat every day. You know what I mean? But and another thing, when I was fasted last year, when I was doing the 18-hour fast where I wouldn't eat until I think it was like 6 p.m. and I would have 1 meal a day. But I noticed after fasting for 12 hours, 15 hours, I started realizing they advertise food. Like right there's a Pepsi truck. I don't know if you got a chance to see the Pepsi truck go by. That's food advertisement. Now they do that to you hundreds of times a day. Like if you, I remember I was sitting at the cable company, and they had the Food Network on, and then I was driving there and passed like 25 food places, and then a radio commercial came on. It was like advertising food over and over again. And I noticed that what the American government advertises the most is food and prescription medications. If you notice that's like 90% of all advertisements is food or prescription medications. And that's another thing. I'm glad I brought that up, because another reason why I want to fast is because I'm anti prescription medications and I'm anti surgeries. Okay, I've only been on 2 medications in my life. I took an antidepressant over a breakup 10 years ago, and I did that for I think like 6 months, and then I got off of it. I could barely even, my equilibrium was so messed up, and it was like the strongest drug. And I was like, that's crazy. And then so I did no other prescription medication until last year. They put me on this blood pressure medication, 25 milligrams a day of potassium something or another. And so if I fast, I think that would really help me get off this blood pressure medication. So I don't want that. And then also for my hernia, it's kind of hurting me right now as I'm walking. It's been sore since last year. And so I think also, if I lose weight, I'm hoping that'll put off the surgery where I won't have to have surgery as well. So anyways, but I'll keep you guys updated, and I'll keep you posted, and I'll check back in tomorrow, and I'll post when I read Genesis 1. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend, and I'll catch up with you later. Bye.